Welcome to How Not to Souls, J-Ron here, and today we are looking at a Death Sorcerer from Elden Ring, and oh boy, what a build this is. It brings me back to days where I thought casting was cool, and this kind of reinvigorated my love of spellcasters in video games. Super duper fun build. I think it would be good in all occasions. I feel that spellcasting, ever since like Dark Souls 3, has been not great with PvP, but I think this one could work just the way the spells work. The PvE experience was pretty good. There's ways to get around certain enemies that are magic resistant, which is really good with this build. But all in all, I'd say it's a build worth diving into. Let's take a look at our numbers, and we'll move on from there. So, this is 213. I recommend it being done at 200. This is a full game, base and DLC build. I think 200 you're good, maybe even at 190. But I just kind of went with it to see how far we can go. But at 213, we have a 50 vigor for a good health pool for a wizard. 41 mind, so we can cast the spells we need to cast and use the abilities we need to use. 30 endurance, since we're not attacking in melee, and we don't need crazy heavy armor. I find 30 is pretty good. Gives you enough to cast the spells you need to do, enough to run away when you need to. 20 strength and 32 dex. That's where I did 20 and 20 for strength and dex throughout the playthrough, which you can take away 12 points of dex, but I just kept adding a dex because it made my casting faster. That's why I have a 32 dex. But 20 and 20 just so we can use the weapons we wanted to use when we couldn't cast, basically. 80 intelligence, because that's where you want your caster to be in Elden Ring. That's a great soft cap. I mean, 99 is the hard cap. You can't go any higher than that, but 80 is great. Perfectly amazing. 30 faith, so we can cast the death sorceries we need to cast, because death sorceries have some faith requirements to them. And 10 arcane at base. And we also start as a wretch. I think this would probably apply better starting as a prisoner or an astrologer. But I used a wretch. That's what I just chose to do. For our lovely set of weapons that we are carrying. First off, our staves. Lusat's Glinstow Staff, which gives us, I think, what is it? Gives us enhanced sorceries with additional FP cost. Our Prince of Death Sorcerer Staff gives us 10% on death sorceries. But since we're casting with our Lusat Staff, the Prince of Death Staff gives us that 10% bonus on our death sorcery damage. And as a side note, we wanted a straight up projectile with nothing too fancy. We had Night Comet, and Night Comet is an invisibility sorcery, which the Staff of Loss boosts. So every time when we used Night Comet, we had our Staff of Loss right there by our side. Now for our weapons, my main was Health and Steeple. I don't know, there's just something about Health and Steeple that just emanates death sorceries, Bringer of Death. I think it's the Ghost Flame buff. But we weren't using that. Darkmoon Greatsword. Death Poker. I've been asked. I think it's a good weapon. I don't think it maximizes its potential on this build. Maybe on a quality with some slight intelligence scaling or slight intelligence on it. I think you get the most out of it with that, but not on this build. And I do like the Death Poker quite a bit. For our alternative damage, when we couldn't use intelligence damage, we had the Sacred Claymore. Obviously, our Darkmoon Greatsword. Magic Zweihander, I'm a big fan of the Zweihander. Huge. I actually had this as cold for a while. I switched it on and off depending on if enemies were immune to frostbite damage. And anything you see that I didn't level up, I'm not going to get into, but I think they'll be, like the Spirit Sword, I think it'll be great on this build. Just keep that in mind. I think I had the Blood Thing for a while, just so we could have a weapon that we could buff. I think the Zaymore Curve Sword would be great on this just as an aesthetic. It doesn't have any intelligence scaling, but it has frost build up. Frost is cool. The cold backhand blade, which I love the backhand blades from the DLC. They're super amazing. Obviously, Moonveil is a hot ticket. Dragon Scale Blade, I fell in love with this on a Faith build. And it has no Faith or intelligence scaling, but it has the Ice Lightning Sword buff, which is so awesome. And it kind of went in line with the cold theme I was going on that was outside all of the death sorceries. The Starline Sword I also think would be a very neat situation in there, but I didn't use it. Death Ritual Spear. More Deathbird drop items. Death-themed items. I think that would be amazing on here. And the core, until it got to a certain point where everything, Health and Steeple was out-damaging it, and the Dark Moon Sword was out-damaging it, is the Cold Grave Scythe. Legit, with Spinning Slash, or a Spinning Weapon, sorry. It procs Frost build up pretty quick. It also, even though the bleed's not very high, it can proc bleed pretty quick on a couple of spinning weapons. Super amazing, super fun, super duper cool. Our armor set, we went with the Navy Hood and the Knights Cavalry set. I thought it looked pretty awesome. Our talisman layout when we were casting, both Graven Talismans to get our sorceries up. Radagon Icon for faster casts, and the Godfrey Icon because a lot of the death sorceries are charged spells. So Shazam, that also gives us a boost on our spells. Other things of note when we were not using these, obviously the Shard of Alexander for, hold on, it's coming to me, for our Ashes of War on our weapons when spell casting was pretty null and void. Always a fan of the Two-Handed Sword Talisman and the Jump Talisman. I think those are pretty good to have on. And where would we be without any of our Erdtree favor? And I do enjoy the Chill-Head Talisman. Both of them. I mean, it's just fast stamina recovery, you know? And I think that's about it. Always a big fan of the Volgos Talisman, the Poise Talisman. And I freaking hate doing what's his name's quest line, Celovus's quest line. I think he's just a scumbag, and I'm just happy to see him die. So I don't get the magic Scorpion Charm, but that might be a good thing to have on here as well. I don't like the Scorpion Charms because of the lower damage negation. I don't tend to use them, but if you like them, that's food for thought, you know? And I think that's about it. Maybe the Ritual Sword Talisman when you have max HP. I think that'd be a good little jam right there. I think that's about that. We didn't dive into sleep. I would have something to say about sleep if we dove into sleep. And our flask was the magic shrouding crack tier and the opaline hard tier. Boosts our magic attack and gives us a temporary boost on all damage negation. Obviously some boiled crab because we love physical damage negation. And your consumables are your consumables, greases, kukris, darts, pots, whomever you want to use. Now for our spells, which were the core of the build. So like I said, I want like just a clean projectile. Night Comet was huge. Absolutely huge. It does a lot of freaking damage. Just found that out myself. I imagine a lot of people who do a lot of intelligence builds know that Night Comet's good. I just gave my own personal experience, very good sorcery. But we'll move on to the death sorceries. Now, Rank Oracle I didn't really get into until later on in the game. I feel it was kind of lackluster up until we got to like 60 intelligence. And we got our Lusat staff and our Prince of Death staff situation worked out. But Ancient Death Rancor, a huge winner. Rings of Spectral Light is good. It didn't find a place because I felt it was too much like Ancient Death Rancor and the fact you get to charge it. There's a light delay. But yes, it is good in its own light. And he gets boosted by the Graven Bird helm that you get in the DLC. It's pretty good. Explosive Ghost Flame. I feel it's an essential on this. Huge. Huge. Get the F off me damage. Pushes everyone back. Frostbite, Ghost Flame. Really, I think, showcases what a Death Sorcerer is. Now, for the 2 sorceries that weren't buffed by the Prince of Death Staff, Massive Putrescence, I thought this was a really good spell. I wouldn't say use it for a boss, but like in groups of people, it's a long charge, but it has a giant AoE when it lands. It's so good. And the Vortex of Putrescence was my secondary spell I used on bosses because it's a quick cast and you get a good amount of damage and it does build Frostbite. I thought it was really good. Totally amazing. And to round everything out, a Duelist Moonblade. Love it. How can you not love a Duelist Moonblade? It's Soul Greatsword that has an ice projectile. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Anything else of note? Let's see. No. For the other death spells. Hold on, let's get the other death spells. Fia's Mist, I feel, is more of a PvP jam. You can't really Deathblight anybody. And Tibia Summons. I don't know. Not into it. It does okay damage. I guess, depending on how you use it, it could be good. It wasn't for me. But for those who like it, that's amazing. And these both get boosted by the Prince of Death Staff as well. But the ones that don't get boosted by the Prince of Death Staff are still absolutely amazing. I thought these were great spells. Absolutely amazing. But yeah, overall, huge fun energy on this build. Probably by far one of my favorites in a while. And does a lot of damage. I would love to see what you guys think. I would love to see some PvP footage of this. I don't have the time to get into PvP with this build as of right now. But I would love to see people do it. I've seen a handful of streamers do it. I would like to see just other people do it as well, because I feel like this is not being looked at as hard as it could be. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you later. Peace out.